Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today I'm back to working on a metal planer restoration, and we're going to be making a new gear. It's probably going to be spread out over a couple of videos. We got a good bit of work that needs to be done to this, but I need to make this gear right here. And when I got my planer, it was missing a gear and a pulley. I was fortunate enough that my friend Andrew Alexander has a very similar planer to mine, made by the same company. A few minor differences between the two, just in the time frame that they were made, but these parts were the same. He was kind enough to send these parts down to me that I could get measurements and kind of copy them. I actually, both of these parts, the gear and the pulley, I'm just working on the gear right now, were made of cast iron. We modeled this up in 3D CAD. I made some patterns, had them 3D printed, and sent them off to Clark Easterling over at Windy Hill Foundry. He sent me back a casting that is pretty much identical to the original. And today's job is we're going to start the machining process on this casting to make this new gear. This one has a diametral pitch of 8, and it's 42 teeth. And anyway, we're going to be cutting that, probably doing that over on the horizontal milling machine. But first, we need to get this thing a blank machined out of this rough casting. So let's get over at the lathe and get started on it. All right, I got my blank over here in a chuck. We got it where we're gripping on the outside of this. This is a rough casting, so as is usually the case, things aren't going to run perfectly true because that's just the way a rough casting is. But I'm not worried about that. The machine casting is what I am more concerned about. And right now, the first step is we're going to face off this side and get it down to the right size. Now, what I need to do is measure from the outside to the depth here and see what that needs to be on the original gear, and then do it on that one. So the original is measuring about 375. We're at about 1/2 inch right now, so I added some extra thickness to this whenever I made the casting. So let's go ahead and face that off, and we'll get it down to the right size. We'll come in here and touch off. And do about 25 thou deep, and I'm just going to face it off. Tell you what, I don't think I got this set square. Let me turn my head just a little bit. Let's do that again. All right, I put a new insert in here. Let's try this again. Oh yeah. Put my shield in here. My problem was I just had a bad insert. I turned that one around to a new face, and all is well, so they do wear out. Now that I've kind of got it cleaned up, let me just kind of see where we're at and how much deeper I need to go. So we're at about 460. I got about 90 more thou that needs to come out of there. I'm gonna put an indicator over here on my carriage, and that should kind of help me figure out here how deep I need to go. I'm taking about 20 thou at a time off the face. All right, this should be 80 thou deep. I'll cut this one and then make another measurement for the final pass. So we should be within 10, 12th hour right here, I believe. Come in here and get a depth. And looks like I need about 15 more thou. I'm gonna dial that in right there. Okay. And let's get a measurement here, and looks like we're right where we need to be. All right, what I'm gonna do now is we're gonna flip this around, and we'll face it to the final thickness that it needs to be. So the original gear is 1 inch 70 thousandths thick. We're at about 1 inch 190 thou, so we got about 120 thou that needs to come off of that thickness there. So same thing here, I'm just going to come in, we'll touch off. Okay. Looks like my insert is, I think what's happening here is the outside scale on this casting is hard. I think if we can get under it, we're going to be all right. I'm going to see if I can take another pass here. I think I'm going to have to flip that insert around. It's cutting pretty good on the backstroke, but all right, let me get a fresh face on that insert. Like I said, this casting is just the outer scale on it's really hard, and it's just eating through my inserts. But once I get under it, the metal's soft. That's not unusual with cast iron. All right, I got a new insert in there, or a new face on that insert. We're at 1 inch 140. We're going to 1 inch 070. Touch off here. Yeah, we're back to cutting good. Let's see what we need. So looks like we need about 13 thou. I'm going to dial that in over here. All right. So right on the money. That's just like the original. All right, guys, I put a 4-jaw chuck in here with independent jaws, and what I've done is I turned it back around. This is the side that's going to be visible from the outside. I know many of you guys probably noticed there was a little bit of run out in this center hub when I did it, and that's because when it was cast, the two halves of the pattern didn't match up just exactly perfectly in the mold. So one side was a little bit offset from the other, and because the way I'm chucking this from the back side, I'm always was on the 3-jaw chuck, I was chucking it and it was drilling it, or it was turning pretty true on the inside, but the outside had some run out. This is the side that's going to be visible, so I want it running true. And basically what I did was I just put it in the chuck and got it so that it's running more or less true. The run out's on the inside now. And next thing I want to do is go ahead and drill and bore this thing out. It needs to have a 1-inch hub, or 1-inch hole through the center of the hub. So we've got a center drill here. I'm going to start by just putting a little spot there in the center for my drill bit to start on. That's all we need right there. I'm going to come in here first with a 3/8 inch drill bit. And we'll just get a hole all the way through this. Next here I've got a 7/8 inch drill bit. Slowed it down a little bit. I got a 31/32 drill here, just a little bit undersized. And final step here, we're going to come in with a 1-inch reamer, and we will take it to the final size there. Reamer will get a nice finished surface on something. Should be pretty well exact for the size I want it now. And I drilled it out to within a 1/16 of an inch of that final size. So that should be a good 1-inch hole right there. I'm over at the arbor press now. We're getting ready to go ahead and broach a keyway in this. There's a 1/4 inch key in this hub, so let's do that real quick. So I'll start by just putting a 1-inch broach bushing in there. And this takes a size C broach. This is a keyway broach. Basically, you got individual teeth. Each one is just a little bit farther out, and you just push that down through that hole. And as you do, it's going to cut a slot that's progressively bigger. You got to make 2 passes, the second pass with a shim, and we should be right to size. So I'm going to come in here, and we'll just use our arbor press. I like to use a little bit of lubrication on this. And we'll just let her go down. All right, first pass. Put the shim behind it. Come back down here, a little bit higher, and just go right down the same track a second pass, and we should be right to size. Here we go, that should do it. Next step I need is we're going to turn the outside diameter of that gear, and I want to turn it on the center hub so that it turns perfectly true. And to do that, I'm going to use a little arbor. This is an arbor I'd actually made for a job sometime a long time ago. Usually when I do this, I have to make an arbor to fit, but I found one that had a 1-inch shank on it with a keyway in it, pretty much ready to go. It was made for something wider than this, but I can put a bushing in there and use it just fine. So I've got this over in the 4-jaw chuck. What I want to do is get it where it's turning perfectly true. Put it in the 3-jaw. It's probably going to have a little bit of run out. So let's find our high here We'll zero that out. Basically want to take it away from us back there. So we'll loosen that up. And we want to take it about half of that distance. All right, now let's find our new high, which is right there. I'll just loosen that up a tad. Again, we want to take about half of that out. And we're narrowing it down. We're down to about 3/1000ths run out. That's my high right there. I'm gonna put my zero there. Yep, come around here, just got 2 thou, so let's see if I can get 1 thou. I'm not even gonna loosen the other side, I'm just gonna tighten this side. Here's 1 thou, re-zero. We got 1 thou run out now. Let's take about half of that right there. Still have just a little bit, maybe just a little bit in that piece. Looks like there's about 1 thou in there regardless, but we're within 1/1000th of an inch. That's going to be fine. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of snug all these up. See where we're at. That's as good as we're going to get it. Like I said, I think it's just in there. So, take our indicator off. Put a key in here. We'll slide our gear up onto the shaft, have it keyed in place. This was a washer that I had done previously, and like I said, I'm just going to put a bushing in there. That's a bushing off of my one of my horizontal milling machine arbors for a 1-inch arbor. We'll put a shaft on the end. Let me bring my live center in, and then we'll get a wrench and tighten that up. Yeah, we'll snug that in place. Now that when I turn the outside of that gear, it should be running true to the inside bore, and we will turn this to the final diameter, and everything should be running true. All right, we need to turn this outside to 5.5 inches. I'm going to start with a little bit of a light cut. Try to get that outside scale off of it that we've been having trouble with being hard. It's tough on that cutter. Different tool here. Let's see if this works any better. It appears to be cutting through it at least to start with. Got a little bit of an interrupted cut on this side. See about where we are dimension wise, so I can see about how much I need to take off of this. We're shooting for 5.5 inches, and we're about 5.7, so I got 200 thou still to come off that outside diameter. Taking about a 40/1000ths cut here. So we can just get down through that tough layer, and I think it'll turn a lot better. You see that shiny stuff on the corners? That's where it hardened, or where it cooled faster in the molds on the corners, and we got a little bit of hardness there. I think we're cutting through it now. All right, I got about 80 thousandths still to cut off of there. I got a new insert in there. I slowed my RPMs down a little bit. See if we can get a little bit better finish on there. Not go through those cutters quite as fast. I think we've got that outside shell off of it now. It's going to cut pretty good since we got a good sharp cutter in there. I do want to check something. I'm wondering, when we were doing that hard turning a minute ago, if my arbor may not have moved a little bit. It looks like there may be a little excessive run out in there. So I'm going to just put that indicator back in there and double check this. And we do. So let me see if I can get that out of there. All right, I think we're back to where we were a while ago. All right, after making that adjustment to the shaft, we're running a lot truer now. I was noticing it was kind of wobbling a little bit, and that was just where we had gotten it out of sync over here, probably when we were doing that hard turning. But we appear to be running pretty true now. I'm going to come in here. We're getting down real close. I'm only going to take a couple of thou off of this, and we're going to get a measurement. We were almost to where we needed to be a while ago. Let's come across this nice and slow. We're shooting for 5.5 inches. And I need 3 more thou. Let's check it again with the micrometer. Right on the money. Well, there you go. I think we have our gear blank is turned out and to the right size. Next step here will be cutting the teeth on there. That will be a separate video. I'm going to have to get the milling machine set up to do that. I've got the proper involute cutter here to cut that gear tooth profile, and just a matter of going over to the horizontal mill and putting 42 teeth in there. And like I said, we'll do that in an upcoming episode. But good news is the gear is roughed out and it is ready to go for cutting teeth. Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed seeing that little bit of machining we did on this gear, and stay tuned. We'll be having that upcoming video on the gear cutting very soon. I will note that I left it on the arbor. I haven't taken it off because it needs to be mounted to the same arbor whenever we do the gear cutting. So just going to leave it set up in there. It's running perfectly true right there, so no reason to take it apart and then risk getting anything out of a line. I was very fortunate that I was able to round up this arbor that was already made and pretty much ready to go. Just had to put a bushing on here to make it work. I was expecting to have to actually make a custom arbor for this, which is what it seems like what I usually have to do on these things, but we found one ready to go, so that saved me a bunch of time today, not having to go and machine that arbor out as well. This one here is one that I had made for a previous project somewhere down the line. I don't even remember what it was for, but I'm glad I saved it. I usually throw those over in a drawer because anytime I need a 1-inch arbor, I got one made once I make the first one. Guys, with that, that is going to be a wrap. As always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon so you get notifications when new videos are posted from my channel. And those comments, as well as those thumbs up, are always appreciated. And guys, we will catch you on the next video. As always, thanks for watching.